Multiple use refers to the utilization of natural resources in combinations that will best meet the present and future needs of the public. Okay, not really even sure what that's saying. Multiple use refers to the utilization of natural resources in combinations that will meet the present and future needs. Okay, so basically the utilization of natural resources, they want to make sure that they meet present as well as future needs of the public. So just not today's needs, but also what's going to move forward.
Great.
Designating land as a wilderness area. This is funny because this is exactly what we do for a living. One of our companies. Designating land as a wilderness area does not necessarily violate the multiple use philosophy. For even when such use does not provide the greatest dollar return, it can provide the greatest overall benefit from that site. Okay, well, if I were to convert that, I would say that the use of land that isn't being utilized still has a benefit. It can still provide a benefit, although it doesn't look to appear to have the greatest overall benefit.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Argument or set of fact?
This is a set of, I mean, it's an argument. It's not a set of fact.
Yep. Our conclusion.
Conclusion is going to be, oh, see, I'd have a hard time deciding which one was the conclusion, to be honest.
I want you to try first, then I'll walk you through it.
Okay. Multiple use refers to the
So
utilization.
that's actually just background information. That's just this is just giving us a definition, what multiple use is. So we actually have one of our trigger words here, for, which introduces a premise.
Right.
So our conclusion is actually going to be what they're trying to claim is that designating land as a wilderness area does not necessarily violate the multiple use philosophy.
Got it.
And so whenever we ask why to that, this is our support. So the reason that it doesn't necessarily do that is because even when like using this land for something doesn't provide the greatest dollar return, it still can provide an overall the greatest overall benefit.
Right.
Right. What kind
because
of
land mitigation, we sell land. Basically, people always ask what that means. We sell lost.
Wait, first, what kind of okay, cool. So what kind of question is this?
A necessary assumption question.
Yes. And what is the goal of a necessary assumption question?
That we need to support the conclusion.
Kind of. That, like, what's the difference between a sufficient assumption question and a necessary assumption question?
Oh, you're going to ask me to go back to things that I've written down, Nicole, that I forgot.
What does sufficient start with?
The S.
What else starts with an S?
Same.
Stronger or strengthen?
Right, strong.
So sufficient assumption questions are we're trying to guarantee our conclusion, where necessary starts with any. So necessary is just what's needed.
Okay. So you need to go back and study some of those basics again too. Okay. So needed. I mean, I have them all written down, and if I go and look.
Yeah, to stay fresh.
I have a very organized binder, so let me.
Necessary assumption, it's more so what's needed for the argument to even have a chance. So for example, if I live in Ohio, therefore I hate Michigan, isn't it needed that I live in the US? So that would be a necessary assumption. But because living in the US doesn't guarantee that I hate Michigan. It's just needed because without it, our argument would fall apart. So if I said it's hot outside, therefore we should get ice cream. Do we need some people to like ice cream or all people to like ice cream?
Oh, just some.
Just some. Excellent. So that's the kind of answer choice we're looking for here.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go by and refresh some of my mind on that one. Okay, so natural resources should be used in combination that will most greatly benefit present and future generations. Okay, I would put a question mark there, to be honest.
Okay.
Designating a wilderness area prevents any exploitation of natural resources in that area. Well, we don't know that for sure, so I
Yeah,
would
how
cross
strong
out.
that is. Like, that's probably not true. Any exploitation.
Right. The present and future needs of the public would best be met by designating greater numbers of wilderness areas. Well, we don't know if that's true either. We don't know what the needs of the public would best be met by, so I would cross that out. The
Mhm.
multiple use philosophy takes into account some non-financial needs of the public. Well, I would cross that out. It's irrelevant.
Is it though? Let's leave it for a second.
Okay. The multiple use philosophy holds that the future needs of the public are more important than the present ones. Well, we'll cross that out because we're trying to say that both are important.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go back to what our conclusion is. Our conclusion is designing land as a wilderness area does not necessarily violate this multiple use philosophy. And our reasoning for that is because even though it doesn't provide the greatest dollar return, it still provides the greatest overall benefit.
Got it. I totally forgot we talked about financial at all.
Yep. And so that's where the multiple use philosophy, it has to take into account at least, so let's see how weak this is, at least one non-financial need, right? Because if it didn't take into account at least one non-financial need, then this support would fall apart.
Okay.
Because we're saying that designating this isn't the greatest dollar return.
Okay, so it would be D. Let me see what I put or where my problem was. So I had picked C the first time, present future needs. I have no idea why I chose that because I would see now why it would not fall
Excellent.
into place, but okay.